I had never been big. I'm really lucky. But as time went on, as I got into like my 40s, um, I got into obesity, and I'm still trying to climb out of it. And the climb out is obesity. It's then you go into overweight before you get into normal weight. That sounds really obvious, but what's really nice about getting older, and when I was younger and I had my hair did and makeup done, and was trying to strut around fishnets and stilettos and all that kind of thing. Not really very astute, despite all my experiences. I just really wasn't quite with it. But what's really nice about being older is there's no fear when it comes to being attracted to somebody or attraction. So she says. When I was younger, I was just sitting here on the day when I finished the book and blah blah blah, and I was just really just just being and just really in that state of still the one part of the self asking the other part of the self questions, and I just thinking of a place. I'm actually in my mind don't I live in London, but I'm not in the centre of London, like around places like Leicester Square, Covent Garden. But my mind just gone visually to those areas for some reason, and I just was having thoughts. I was just going through these questions about what's the difference, and I have a curtain in my room where I'm just was trying to work out designs and stuff like this, and I just took down this dirty curtain, and it's just white sheeting, and I've drawn an eye on it, as I do with most of my what do they call them, scribbles or scrabbles or whatever. And I just realised, sometimes you sit down and you just sit with yourself and you just be, and I just realised there's not that fear. I remember when I was really young, and I was really doing it myself to be attractive, and there was all that fear of being attracted to someone, and there wasn't the confidence that met the fear that I could ever be the conventional type of woman they wanted me to be, or I was never consistent, so I never fitted, never felt like I fitted, and I didn't. It's not a feel like it. I just didn't. It just didn't happen. I didn't fit that kind of relationship that would be steady or wife type, or in traditional terms. I don't know what happened, but but now, and I'm just sitting back and thinking about the person visually and emotionally and intellectually I was then, and I just realised there's not that intimidation anymore. Sometimes sometimes you meet someone and they look a certain way and you just think, oh, that's quite something. You can admire it, but what's really nice now is really admiring the love they have, really being able to see it. I don't know really how to describe this, but this is another thing of being shown things, like being shown that where there's an accomplice, there's a possible witness. And that came to me because I was in that dire straits kind of place, dark place, where I knew things would happen and I couldn't prove it. And most of all, I didn't want to be in a situation where I would have to do those kind of things. I didn't want it no more. But I had to face that maybe something would happen and I'd come across that way. I accept that responsibility. That's a responsibility. It's not definitive of me. It was never my intention. But we slip and slide into different things. And I don't mean that to be shady or anything like that. That's just sometimes you're going along and things happen. But I get myself back on track. This was really, yeah, but in the thing of being shown. So when I got into a situation where I knew things that had happened, well, not huge things, but sometimes you get involved with people. They didn't have to remain definitive of my life path. But as I started to be open to being shown different things, one of the things that I really found so deep and so beautiful and profound, just to my small world and my small mind, was beginning to love who loved the person you love. Really being able to see the emanation of somebody you look at and you think they're really gorgeous, they're really lovely. Whether it's a friend or someone in a kind of love, sexual attraction kind of way, and really beginning to open and realize that actually that person might look that good, be that attractive, or feel that nice because of the love support that they have. And I say that because I have been in situations where, when it comes to relationships, I wasn't the best person in the relationship, and I didn't really understand what the attraction and dynamic of a person was. And by that I mean I was very young, looking for love, and actually found I wasn't the only person in the situation, even though I may have fell head over heels in lust, or perceived that I could be onto something that just did not, was never ever going to exist. And at that time, you go through feelings of hatred and, I say hatred, not so much hatred, but it's just that cold feeling of rejection and abandonment. Especially when you're coming from a place, if you came from a really strong family unit and you came from a place of love, but when you come from something, and I'm sorry if this offends anybody, it's not intended to, but it's just the fact of what my experience is. When you come from something which didn't bring you the love and support and build up your self esteem and confidence, then to go out and you think you're finding love, um, and what you find is just that you're actually just something of in an affair, and you're not. There's no meaning to you apart from your physical. Nobody wants to heal with you or build with you, and it can be so damning. And it's just like falling on concrete. It really is, for want of a better expression. It's shattering. It's absolutely shattering. But from that shattering, from those experiences, which I had too many, um, what I grew into, especially that came through when I started really focusing on writing and really allowing myself to get past the barriers of misspelling and mispresentation, and trying to, before I could get the design of the books together, even though I still put them out there, um, was that it's been able to sit in the moment with the connection you have with the universe, the higher self, the God, the angels, or whoever it is, or whatever it is that helps you produce and create, that supports you through that process. But that is something that was so beautiful and so strong that came through, and that taught me so much. And I think that took away the fear of intimidation, and also the need to really hold on to or be with anybody that I admired. So I could admire somebody, hopefully not in an intrusive way to them, but I could not only admire them, but be really grateful and thankful and admire somebody who loves them, so you can see the whole journey instead of feeling like you've been damned in a kind of fate of no hope because you're not the only person in the situation. It helps you open up, not that you want to go and have an affair or break up somebody's love or marriage, but it shows respect. It was, for me, it was a big thing to learn respect, because in a way I'd unintentionally got into situations that really, when I was a young girl, I was trying to form myself, even though I had to come together with this experience of what had happened to me, and and some, as it happened, it was going to put me up against prejudice and disdain among people because of whatever. But that, coming from that space of little understanding about what relationships really were and what true love is, and being able to see true love and feel it without that being excessively negative, in a sense of, when you come from those places where you're not loved, you often can fall into that trap of wanting to break up love. That's the truth. Not It's not because you really want to cause damage or hurt, it's just because you're just so blinded by your own pain. But it was a really healing connection for me to be able to realize love in a bigger way. And that may be really simple minded to a lot of people who understand intimacy, but what I really want to share is the journey that isn't from that, and the disconnections that happen. And it was something that I had to learn very quickly as I became a parent, as how was I going to, when I hadn't been able to form good relationships and didn't come from, how was I going to even teach that to somebody else? And that went beyond fear. But I managed something, I'm glad to say. And that seems good. So that is the healing. Not only loving the person you admire, but loving and being able to see that the love that they have that strengthens them, that is a blessing beyond any God or universe. And that's not to disrespect, I don't know, I just see limitlessness and I just see beyond whatever we can name. So, and that to me is, even though I respect the term God and or I respect love, I think there's beyond love. There is even more than love, which to us who are here in this kind of limitation, we describe as love, but I still believe there's even more we can experience, and I just believe there's always much more because at the end of the day, it's